Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurmilitan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're continuing our study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and we're on the 9th canto. So today we want to go into chapter number 16. You'll remember yesterday when we were studying the 15th chapter, we heard how Lord Parasuram had gone to Mahishmati, to the capital of Kartavirya Arjun. And Parasuram had killed Kartavirya Arjun because Kartavirya Arjun had taken away the Kamadhenu cow, which was the property of Jamadagni, his father, Parasurama's father. He'd taken the Kamadhenu cow along with the calf. So Lord Parasurama went there and he fought with Kartavirya Arjun, and he killed Kartavirya Arjun. First he killed 17 Akshahinis of the army of Kartavirya Arjun, and then he fought with Kartavirya Arjun and killed him. And then he brought the calf back, along with the cow, the Kamadhenu cow. He brought it back, gave it to his father, and he told his father what had happened. And his father was not so pleased because he said, "You've done a great sin. You've killed a king." And he said, his father said, killing a king is worse than killing a brahmana. He said, "You've done this sinful act by killing the king." He was an emperor, so that's more sinful than killing a brahmana. But at the same time, while his father told him it was sinful, he gave him a process of atonement. And he said, now if you become Krishna conscious and worship the holy places, you can atone for this great sin. So this was the atonement, worshipping the holy places, and also becoming Krishna conscious. So this was Jamadagni's advice to Parasurama, that he should do like that. Prabhupada writes in the purport, he said, an ordinary person cannot immediately surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is advised to go from one holy place to another, to find saintly persons, and thus gradually be released from sinful reactions. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining the significance of Jamadagni, the significance of its instruction to Parasuram, that he should go to the holy places and he should take the association of saintly people there and hear from them. By going to the holy places and associating with saintly persons, then he will be purified and he can be released from his sinful reactions. So the 16th chapter begins in that way, that we hear how Parasuram is going to go out for 1 year to go and visit all the holy places. when his father had told him that, Parasuram didn't argue. He said, let it be so. He was happy to get that kind of mercy from his father, to go and visit the holy places. So for 1 year he was traveling, and then he returned to his father's residence. And then we are told about one incident which took place there in the ashram of Jamadagni. And this is well known, this is often recounted. I think it's also mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the famous example about how Renuka, the wife of Jamadagni, she had become, somehow she had a subtle fall down, that she was going to the bank of the Ganges to get water, and she saw the king of the Gandharvas sporting in the water with Apsara women, with these celestial women, and she became attracted to this. She became attracted to the king of the Gandharvas, that he was decorated with a garland of lotuses, and he was sporting with all these young, beautiful women in the water of the Ganges. So she'd gone there, she was supposed to get water and bring it back for the service of her husband's yagya, but she got so much absorbed in watching what they were doing there, and watching the Gandharva ladies with this king of the Gandharvas, and how they were playing and sporting with each other, that she forgot the time for the fire sacrifice was passing. So this was a problem. She came, later she understood that she'd taken so long that the time for the sacrifice had passed. And so she knew her husband was going to be very upset with her. So when she returned, she put the water pot in front of her husband and stood before him with folded hands. And Jamadagni understood the mind of his wife. He understood that she'd been looking with some attraction to this king of the Gandharvas. So he considered this to be an act of adultery by his wife. And so he was very angry. And he told his sons, kill this sinful woman. So you can imagine how the sons would feel. The father is telling them, kill your mother. But the sons did not carry out his order. It's an unusual situation. Could you imagine, The father tells you, the son, kill your mother. So here is Jamadagni, and he's telling his sons, he wants one of them to kill his wife, the mother of the sons. But none of them want to do it. So this is a problem. Father is giving an order. Father is like the guru, and the sons are like the disciples. Now we say the order of the spiritual master is the life and soul of the disciple. So here you have Jamadagni, and he's telling his sons, kill your mother. Now, how can we explain this to a modern day audience, that they will not be too much affected or too much disturbed by it? Because we do know in the modern times, there have been cases, fanatical gurus who order their disciples to do things, and the disciples do it, And, you know, and it's very, very bad. Sometimes, you know, you got this one person, he was having a whole cult of people following him, and he had them all drink poison.
He's missing.
Yeah, he's offline, I guess.
Maharaj, you're on mute, Maharaj.
So the public opinion is very important. And there is a lot of public opinion about these things, you know, the fanatical gurus, and sometimes the orders they will give their disciples. Sometimes when we would be distributing literatures, we'd be accused that we are just collecting funds to give to some Indian guru who's sitting in luxury and just simply waiting for us to go out there and collect money and bring it back to him. This kind of thing. So how can we, you know, first of all, we have to consider, is it proper to present this kind of incident to the public? Because it is quite well known, it does come up, you know, in the Mahabharata and like that. So, what do you think? Is it better just to avoid it altogether? Or how could we present it in such a manner that it can be digested by the public? Right? That's my question. Maybe we'd like to hear from Bimla Prasad Prabhu.
Not an easily answered question. Not an easily answered question.
Really?
Because I think, yeah, I mean, in the modern context and like the kind of audience which you are basically asking us to address, those who are like practicing Krishna consciousness, they will have certain amount of faith, certain amount of shraddha. But people in general, and with the kind of impression we have had, there is a history to it. So not an easily answered question. Please, Maharaj.
So better to avoid it, is it?
No, I don't say that. Like, I mean, that's not in our hands. Somebody can put it up and light in our face that this is what your book says. So we'll have to answer that. I don't know. Like, what would I do? Like, if come faced with such a situation, because it's part of our. This is what happens. It's like this is not the only thing. Like, the fourth canto, when we deal with like, it's just like, okay, woman like rape kind of thing, and they bring that thing. It's not an easily answered question because that's not general people can digest, and sometimes, of course, like Bhagavatam, everything is not for everyone. However, in the current times, like everything is open for everyone. So the question you brought up actually has got a lot of value, because like Said and I'm like, we are cornered. We cannot give that excuse. Okay, I'll like go and ask my guru and like things like generally which we the alibis which we go, okay, turn to the guru. They say like, I don't know your guru, I know you. You are there on the street with the book in the hand. Explain me this thing. So not an easily answered question. I don't know. I will look up to you, Maharaj. Like like you have like, yeah, how, like I don't know. It's like Yaduraj Prabhu wants to contribute anyways.
Yeah, Yaduraj Prabhu.
Prashant Prabhu said is obviously being a big organization with millions of devotees, interacting with public. I mean, there'll be cases, Mata. Definitely, we can't help it. For example, like child abuse in ISKCON, and like what Prabhu said in a proper certain statement, So all these can be used to go against ISKCON. So, but one thing, Maharaj, like in Malaysia, what we try to do, I think even India also they try to do is to have a good relationship with public and also the government. So that's what we are trying to do in Malaysia also. We have a lot of devotees sitting in the Hindu Sangha, in the public panel, so that we can have a good relationship with public and also government. So when we have this kind of situation, Maharaj, we have where the public themselves defend ISKCON. The government themselves defend ISKCON. So since the ISKCON is not like that, So in my opinion, Maharaj, like what Bimala Prasad Prabhu said, being a big organization, sometimes we can't help it, certain thing come against ISKCON, but having good relationship with public and also the government helps. That's my opinion.
Yes, certainly, it's very true, very important. We have to have nice relationships with these people, these officials. They have a lot of power, and we definitely have to be very careful in dealing with them. So if you can get their support, and if they can be convinced that our movement is not fanatical, and that we don't have any, killings going on or anything, no, we don't have any fanatical gurus or telling the disciples to drink poison or to go out and kill their mother or anything. But these are issues. Of course, it can be a big issue. People certainly take these things. The people who are opponents to our Krishna consciousness movement, they're looking for these kind of things, and they thrive on it, and they collect these kind of things, and when they're making their propaganda against us, then they bring these kind of things up. They bring these statements up against us. So we have to be able to answer them and deal with them.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I have just one point to say here. Can I?
Please.
Maharaj, see, if you go further ahead of this chapter, we can see that Srila Prabhupada is saying in one of his purport that after this incident, either Parshuram or Jamadagni both both of them were not saved from the reaction. So what they have done is a very big offense, even if it's Lord Parashurama himself. Like he says in the few verses, we can see that he never been happy in his life, throughout his life. He always had these thoughts, and he was not able to be happy. And Jamadagni was also in turn was murdered by with a very tortured way. So they both had to suffer for their action, even if it's either. It's not justifying. I mean to say that we can present it in such a way that the heinous action done by both of them in turn resulted in for their sufferings. So maybe is that a good approach, Maharaj, or what is your take on that? Can I?
What is this now? Say that again, that last statement.
Yeah. See, if for both of them, the result of their heinous action, they had to suffer in their life. See, if I say, I'll just have to find out which verse it is. 1 second, Maharaj. In that one of the verse, Srila Prabhupada was saying that. Sorry, Maharaj. Yeah, you see, in the verse number, I think 6th verse, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that the Parashurama would ask the benediction having the mother is like Parashurama. Sorry, not there. sorry, I'm not able to recollect that, but exactly I remember that. Srila Prabhupada is saying that in one of the verse, therefore whether, it's in the verse number 9, therefore whether one be Kartikeya Arjuna or Lord Parashurama, Jamadagni, or whoever one may be, one must act very, very cautiously and sagaciously. Otherwise, one must suffer the result of their sinful activities. This is the lesson we receive from Vedic literature. Srila Prabhupada clearly mentions this one. And in further verses, if you say that what was their suffering, because Parashurama, Lord Parashurama could not be happy in throughout his life. Later he and even Jamadagni had been killed. I mean, all these things, incidents happened, even if it is though it is the incarnation of the Lord, because of course he is beyond all this karmic reaction, but to teach us a lesson that it says that they had to undergo the sufferings because of the result. So maybe this is a way we can tell the people that this incident had happened, but after that even they had to undergo the suffering related to that. So I'm just asking you, it could be the correct way to tell them, because it's my just simple thought of that.
Who did you say was never happy? Parasuram was never happy?
Yes, Maharaj. In the next verse, it is the same verse where Srila Prabhupada is mentioning this one, is that the translation of the verse goes like this, that my dear King Parikshit, the sons of Kartavirya's Arjuna, who were defeated by the superior strength of Parashurama, never achieved happiness, for they always remember. Okay, that is talking about them. In this one, Srila Prabhupada mentioned this one, that they had to, otherwise one must suffer the result of the sinful activities. So I just wanted to say that, I'm not clear about this thing, but Srila Prabhupada mentioned this one. So what was their reaction? What was then?
Yes, certainly. Prabhupada does say something like that in a purport I was reading, that he said that because Jamadagni had ordered his mother and his sons to be killed, so he got some reaction for that. And because Parasurama had gone and killed Kartavirya Arjuna, although Prabhupada said that was not a very big sin, because he was a big demon anyway. He said it wasn't but still he gets some reaction for that.
Correct.
Of course,
so maybe that could be the way that, because we can say that even if, because of this heinous action, they had to suffer for that. That is weird, which I'm just not remembering that what is mentioned here, that what Parashurama had to undergo. So maybe he killed all them and all of them. He has to be severe in this action.
It seems surprising that Jamadagni wanted his wife killed and his sons killed, because previously he told Parasurama about forgiveness. That he told his son, you've done a great sin, you killed the emperor, and you have to learn forgiveness. So he was telling Parasurama about forgiveness, but he didn't forgive his wife, he didn't forgive his sons. He thought they should be killed for what they'd done. Of course, he had the power to bring them back to life, and they wouldn't even remember what had happened. So that was there. But still, the incident is there. It certainly shows something of the gravity, the severity, indeed, which is even there sometimes in the Vedic culture, that Jamadagni thought because his wife had looked the wrong way at a young man, she should be killed.
But Maharaj, Hare Krishna.
Yes.
This is Murthy here. The thing is the level of chastity that was demanded. The thing is, even Krishna, he also wants us to be chaste, for devotees, always thinking of him. That is, I may be asking you if Krishna would have tolerated this. For a pure devotee, it's certainly a subtle fall down.
It's a subtle fall down.
So he wanted to punish her, but he was not, because he was powerful, he could bring her back to life. But actually, a man cannot kill someone. That is, so he got the reactions for only thinking of killing. No?
Yes, yes, he got reaction.
But Krishna also, this is the lesson is that we have to be very pure. That is only thinking of Krishna like that. The standard of chastity, at least we can take a lesson from this. The standard of chastity has to be maintained like this.
Well, we could say also it was unfortunate that the Gandharvas had come there and they were frolicking in the water of the Ganga, and you know the wife didn't have any evil intention. It just
It was Satya Yuga. It went to Treta Yuga, second Yuga. It came to second Yuga also. So the standards of Satya Yuga, according to Jamadagni, it was not maintained that time. That also has to be taken into account. That is, she was a person from Satya Yuga, and this Treta Yuga had come. So there was little fall in the standards also.
yes, that the responsibility of a woman is to be chaste, and she didn't intentionally. She didn't go out there looking for a man, but it just so happened that when she was at the Ganga, she saw the man, the king of the Gandharvas, with these other Gandharvas, and they were playing in the water of the Ganges, and she somehow became attracted to the physical presence of that man.
In Kali Yuga, in our days, actually we watch television, you know, and so we see these pictures and all, everything, and some of man, woman playing. Yeah. So that is also not according to the standard of chastity. That is, people say that, okay, it's no problem. We can talk like that. It's not that there's much we want to achieve. That is, we can. This is at least one example. How much we got to achieve.
That's a good point. That's why we encourage people not to watch television, because it's so easy to be a victim of the material energy. You go to the movies or you watch television, and certainly those things are there. A lot of
even if you grossly don't commit anything, but subtly you are doing something that you don't know. That is, we can take example.
Yes. But it's not everyone who's willing to forgo that, to make that sacrifice, to give up, you know. And of course nowadays you don't just have television, you know, you have computers and mobile phones and so many networks, and everything is there.
Very easily available.
Oh yes. And it's a big problem for young people, of course, growing up in this world, that they're exposed to all of these things from a very early age. So to have any kind of chastity at all in the Kali Yuga, it's very, very difficult. How to help a woman to keep her chastity? It can be very challenging. Of course, the dress is important. Association is also very important. So somehow this wife of Jamadagni just got too close to bad association, because Gandharvas, heavenly people, they have a lot of sense gratification, and so she became victim. And she fell into a subtle fall down. But Jamadagni took it very seriously. And Parasurama, of course, you know the story that the elder sons refused to kill the mother, but the youngest son, Parasurama, killed them. because he knew the power of his father, and he had faith in his father that although he was killing them, that they would come back to life again. So this example of Parasurama and his obedience to his father, this is very powerful. This dedication, this complete conviction to the order of the father, even to the extent that you will kill your mother and your own brothers. You know, this is considered to be something, wow, you know, Parasurama, he's really a good disciple, you know. Do you want a disciple like Parasurama who will be like that, you know? Do we want to have people of that kind?
Krishna wanted Arjuna, just Bimal Prasad Prabhu has written here. Krishna wanted Arjuna to kill his kith and kins.
Krishna wanted Arjuna to kill? Yes. Yeah, Bhishma and Drona, yes. Bimala Prasad Prabhu, you have something to
Yeah, that's the same, like as Murti Sri Mataji already mentioned, that like there's a parallel. Maybe because the incidents of Parashuram and Jamadagni with Renuka is kind of not so much well known as compared to the situation of Mahabharata, which gave rise to Kurukshetra war and the emergence of Bhagavad Gita. Maybe like Arjuna's dilemma is still has become more digestible in the public eyes. But as compared to that, when like somebody brings it up, like I was just thinking like how to answer the original question which you put up, like what to do when like we say faced with a question like this. So maybe drawing parallels might kind of make it ease the pain, basically. It's like
Yeah.
here you're just talking about his mother or brothers, but there it was a internecine conflict. The entire family was wiped out on the basis of a principle. So the war is based on the principle, or the killing here is based on a principle. Of course, those kind of principles like are for the principled people. that's a big caveat, I would say. Principles are for principled people. Those who don't value principles, they won't value this. They won't be able to digest. That's a fact. But draw parallels. Yeah.
So that's one parallel. Arjuna on the battlefield at Kurukshetra is supposed to kill Bhishma and Drona. Are there any other parallels in Shastra?
Well, I think the entire demon and demigods battle is based on. You see, like the demons and the demigods, they're all relatives after all. Like one, like the sons of Aditi and the sons of Diti, basically they are cousins. But like the entire, like all the like shastras are like replete with examples of this. So basically, it's again comes down to the basic moral that one who is a devotee of Krishna or Vishnu Bhakta Smita Deva Asram Tatvipare, and those who are opposed to him, and they are always clashing, and that clash is basically based on that. So there are things like that, and of course, in the material world, it is not seen in a good light. But as a matter of fact, now I'm reminded of so many examples. You see, internecine conflicts where like on the basis of principle, there might be like fights. You see in Islam, there have been many such cases where like they have had fights between in between the cousins of the like family of Prophet Muhammad. So I can remember that part. So some of them are, of course, you can say just, but most of them were unjust. But yeah, that's how it is.
Okay. Anandadullah Prabhu, you have
Hare
something?
Krishna Maharaj. I have some doubt. Maharaj, in Satyaloka, these all happen in Satyaloka. In Satyaloka, the Parasuram asked to kill by seeing one's reaction in sinful activity by the lust, they have sinful. In Satyaloka, they get sinful, automatically must be punished. In Kali Yuga, when you act practically, then only you have a sin. It doesn't, we cannot compare to Satyaloka to the our Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is special than the Satyaloka nowadays. We are by thinking we cannot get sins. Like a guru won't give any order to kill, give poison to others. This is not Vaishnava guru. Our Vaishnava guru is following exactly as a parambara of Mahaprabhu. Yeah. This happened in Satyaloka. That's why the Jamadagni Muni asked to kill the mother because he do the sinful activities. Even he not illicit sex. By seeing, by thinking, he already illicit. He already done. That's why they want to make purified. They will kill and give a life back. Then he purified himself. Hare Krishna Maharaj. That is
Ah,
my
very good
opinion.
point. Yes, thank you, Prabhu. That's a very good point. Yes, it's stated like that, that in the Kali Yuga, you have to actually do something. You may think bad, but you don't get any punishment. But if you think good, if you just think good in the Kali Yuga, you get the credit. Even you didn't do it, if you just think good about doing something good, you get the credit in the Kali Yuga. It's so rare. In Satya Yuga, you have to you just think something bad and you get reactions for it. So certainly it's a big difference in Kali Yuga and Satya Yuga. So it's good you brought that point up. Okay. But yeah, I was just puzzled about the contradictory behavior of Jamadagni, that he's telling Parasurama about forgiveness, but he has no forgiveness on his own wife. So how do we explain that?
He acted as a teacher, wanted to teach her something. Right?
Oh, he wanted to instruct his wife, huh? But at the same time, the memories were taken away, right? They don't remember that they were killed. They won't. Did they? I don't know. Would they remember the incident?
But that was what Parasuram asked for. He asked that they will not remember that they had been killed, but he wanted to bring them back to life. That was Parashurama's.
Maybe those lessons are for us to understand what is the graveness of adultery, because it's not the woman only suffers, the whole society crumbles. It becomes animal civilization because it's not, it is affecting the whole civilization. So it is so serious that, people have to understand. Maybe, she was so pure in her mind, just a small incident happened for us to teach that, we should not go in that direction. And even for people to understand that, sometimes in an individual or in a situation, there is something that we understand and some things we don't understand. Like even in math, we don't understand certain things. Sometimes we understand. So whatever we understand, we keep it, and we don't understand, we keep it for later. As we mature, as we grow up, we will start understanding things. I mean, a first grader cannot understand multiplication and all that, integration. But, we should give time, because in every culture, there is something that is not in my conditioning or my upbringing. So Western culture is different. So I might be like shocked. But if I give time and, I will eventually understand. We have to first understand the people, the context, there was a different yuga altogether. So there are so many things unknown. See, 2 plus 2 floor, there are two constraints, 2 and there is another 2. But there are so many unknowns. 2x plus 2y plus 2z. We don't know what is x, we don't know y, we don't know z. And we are trying to understand what is the answer. Or, this answer is bad or good or right or wrong. So we have to give time. So, and you know, and it is very easy to say, when you read everything, you read the scriptures and you pray, eventually things are revealed. The knowledge is there inside, and Krishna will unreveal it. I mean, it reveal it. He will, you know, it will. You have to be, you know, there is some amount of sincerity, some dedication somebody needs. Even, you know, I mean, if somebody comes to me also, I will say, even I am not that pure to, you know, for that Krishna has revealed me everything. That's why I cannot answer you today. So, you know, we have to take a humble stand that, you know, I'm also learning. Not that everything has to be like, oh, right now I need to know. So many things in ourselves we don't know. Why do I not get up in the morning? Why do I act sometimes angry? We, you know, there are so many things that in ourselves we can't control or we don't know. So we, you know, we have to give time. It's fine, you know, that not everything has an answer, and everything need not be answered right away. It's
Okay,
not about, yeah. I mean, sorry.
thank you for this. Yeah, it's certainly true that we don't have the answers for everything, but we do want to understand these different incidents, and there's always something, some appreciation we can get out of these different encounters, the different events which took place. Well, for example, we learn, first of all, okay, chastity is important. You know, that we want the women to be chaste. And that's an important thing. And certainly a married woman, you marry a woman, you know, the husband will expect his wife to be chaste. But it was an unfortunate incident. So we learn the importance of chastity, and we also learn about Parasuram's obedience to carry out the order of the father, the dedication which he had to the father, that he will do whatever the father says. And he has faith also in his father. So that kind of faith, that, you know, in the guru-disciple relationship, that is also important. Of course, not that we could ever imitate that kind of situation, that you have to kill someone, then expect the guru to bring them back to life. Of course, it's not going to happen in the Kali Yuga. But that dedication, the commitment to following the order of the superior, that's an important point. And of course, we see also Arjuna and how he carried. Of course, he was directly instructed by Lord Krishna. Parasurama is taking the order from his father. And his father, of course, a great soul. He's a Brahmana. But Parasurama is becoming the Kshatriya. He's taking up his axe and he's going and killing. And so this is certainly a very interesting incident. Lord Parasuram killing his mother and then brothers, and then having the father bring them back to life and no memories of the incident. So Parasurama, his business is not over yet. Another important activity, of course, takes place. That it happens that Jamadagni is engaged in meditation one day, and because Lord Parasurama had killed Kartavirya Arjuna, so Kartavirya Arjuna, he was killed by Lord Parasuram, so the sons of Kartavirya Arjuna are looking for revenge, and they come to the ashram of Jamadagni, and he's engaged in meditation on the Supreme Lord, so they take the opportunity to kill him while he's in trance. And then the wife of Jamadagni calls out, and the sons come running back, and they find their father dead. So Parasurama He understands who are the culprits, or maybe he heard from the mother who were the culprits, and Parasurama takes his axe and he goes out to get the culprits, to get revenge. And he goes to Mahishmati and he kills all of the sons of Kartavirya Arjuna. But he's not satisfied with that. He goes on and he goes to kill all the Kshatriyas on the planet. And there were no Kshatriyas left. So what will be the effect when there are no Kshatriyas on the planet? What's going to happen?
Like what happened with when Mena was killed. Rogues and thieves will increase.
Yeah?
Maharaj, there's no government, Maharaj, because no Shatra, no government. So there'll be lawless. People will live like animals, you know? So,
Well, we could,
yeah, Maharaj.
we could say, well, look, these sons of Kartavirya Arjuna, they were like animals anyway. They came and murdered a man, the saintly man who was in trance. They deserved to die. And the other Kshatriyas who Parasuram went to kill, they were all in the mode of passion and ignorance. And so he did it to relieve the earth of the burden of all these evil Kshatriyas.
But the effect of that, Maharaj, no Shatra to rule. So the society become lawless and rogue and thieves and sinful activities will flourish. So no Shatra to rule, then how, Maharaj?
Well, we could argue that these people who were ruling were not listening to the Brahmanas. They were not hearing the Brahmanas anyway, so they were not qualified to be rulers. And that, of course, this is the history of the world, that initially the Kshatriyas were there, but when the Kshatriyas became degraded, then the Vaishyas took over. Right? You got so many Vaishyas, big politicians, they're Vaishyas. And because the Vaishyas are also, some corruption and degradation is there, and so you get socialism, and you get communism, things like communism coming up. And the Sudras take over and become the leaders. And so this is what the history of the world, that the degradation of the Kshatriyas, a complete breakdown of the Varnashram system. So what is needed? What is the solution?
We need all the four
Maharaj,
groups.
sorry, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Maharaj and Pranam Prabhupada. In the past, the Brahmanas churned King Vena's body and Pruth Maharaj came. And also in the King when Maharaj Nimi did not want to have a material body, he was given a spiritual body, but then the Brahmanas kept his body and Janaka Maharaj came when the Brahmanas churned his body. So because of Arajaka Bhayam, if the government is unsteady and unregulated, there is danger of fear for the people. So Srila Prabhupada gives this purport. So to eliminate that fear, some leader has to be there, some government has to be formed. Without proper government, it's very hard for the people in general to continue without fear. So there has to be some system to establish that government. When the previous leader falls, there is a system. There is a backup chief minister and things like that. For that reason.
So when Parasurama killed the Kshatriyas, was there any backup?
I haven't read that far, Maharaj, so I'm not sure. So I'm waiting to hear what is the next.
Anyone like to answer? We're saying when Parashurama killed all the Kshatriyas, was there any backup? What happened to the social system? Yeah, yes?
Yeah. Here we can also understand that this is something which has been done by the Supreme Lord himself. So, so when the Lord does something, definitely it will be only for the good of all the people. So, can we also understand that he killed them only because they were doing so much bad things to the people, and by killing them, that he would set right the social order, which would be better off than having a bad king. So
Better,
it
better
doesn't.
than having a bad king.
Yeah, but since the Lord is there, he would ensure that things don't go wrong. So
Yeah. So any Parsuram's, he's not an ordinary person, he's the Shakti Vesha avatar. He's the representative of the Lord, and he's come, his mission is annihilating the demons, removing them from the surface of the earth. So he did that work, but there has to be also the work of pleasing the devotees and encouraging the devotees. So after he killed all the Kshatriyas, then of course he had to go and do penance. He had to go off and for a long time he had to go and do penance. It's not he could just kill everyone and forget about it. He had to go and make atonement. And he did. For a long time he went into penance. So what happens, he's killed all the Kshatriyas. Well, there can always be more Kshatriyas. It's not that everyone has to be born in a Kshatriya family. The birth is not important. What is important are the qualities, of course. And with proper training, you can have good Kshatriyas. So the training had to be there. Just like Brahmanas, anyone can become the Brahmana if they will take the training, an initiation and the training. And the same way Kshatriyas also, they have to be properly trained. They have to be trained for these roles. And they have the qualities can be cultivated by proper training. And you do see some countries they have a system, they'll take the young people and they will train them for these kind of roles, to take up very senior positions in the government. They will be given the training which is necessary for taking on that kind of responsibility. So our Krishna consciousness movement is also like that, we're not only just training Brahmanas, we do also need Kshatriyas, and we need also Vaishyas. Everyone's important. We don't just only train everyone to be a Brahmana and send everyone to the temple to do puja. Some people have more Kshatriya nature, and they can be trained for these kind of roles. Organizing people and administrating. And we're seeing some devotees also take these positions in the modern times. You have like that woman Tulsi Gabbard in the USA, she's an active politician. And I think in the future more and more people, more and more devotee people will come forward and they'll take up these kind of roles. The Kshatriya, the administrator. But the training is so important. And so, of course, if you're born in that family, then then probably you'll get the training much easier. If your father is a Kshatriya, then it's much easier you're going to be trained to be a Kshatriya. But other people can also become Kshatriyas, they can also be trained. If they have that willingness, that determination to follow up and to take the training, then they can develop these qualities. So training is a very big part of the social system. Training, education, educate the governments all over the world. A major portion of their budget is spent on education. But unfortunately, the education which people get is not really the kind of education which we think is so important. The education they get is more, it's all technology and working in the corporate world and these things, and banking and finance. But the real education is training people how to work cooperatively in the Varnashram system. So the division of society into that Varnashram system is very helpful. And if people are properly trained, then you get people coming forward with the Kshatriya qualities, who actually care and who can give protection to others, they can give shelter. Right?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes, Prabhu?
Here Prabhupada also says, Shastra, the Brahmana can be a Kshatriya. Can be come to Kshatriya from by training my what Maharaj said. But I heard some things from senior disciple, Prabhupada disciple, one of, I don't want to mention. He said, in future, maybe our Vaishnava also will be ruler like Kshatriya. They can rule some countries in future, not now. It will come later on by their qualities, training.
Yes. Yeah, Prabhupada said like that about the children. He said, to get good children, he said, it will take 2 or 3 generations before you start to get good, pure devotees, but in the future it will come. So already now we're like in the 3rd generation. So the children now, some of them very advanced, very elevated,
They're born in Vaishnava in the womb.
Right. There was one young boy from Singapore. He got initiation recently from His Holiness Jayapataka Swami. He was only 11 and a half years old.
Oh.
And Jayapataka Swami knew that Prabhupada had said people should be 12 before they get initiated. So this young boy, he was born in a devotee family, and he came and he wanted initiation, and he approached Jayapataka Swami, and Jayapataka Swami said, well, you're not 12 yet, you have to be 12. But the young boy, somehow, he had arguments, and he had arguments, and Jayapataka Swami at one point was speaking to the boy's father, and the boy's father said, it's nothing to do with me, you talk to my son. You talk to my son. And this young boy, 11 and a half years old, he started debating with Jayapataka Maharaj about why he had to be initiated. And Jayapataka Maharaj went away and he thought about it for 2 or 3 days. And then 2 or 3 days later, he gave in and came and initiated him. And so you get these young boys, some of them, they're so brilliant, young children, they can recite the whole Vishnu Sahasranam, only 5 years old, they're reciting so many slokas. So, these things are happening. It's certainly a lot of potential, and if we go on, if the people follow the process, then in the future we will get more and more qualified devotees. and they can take the leading role. Now it's interesting, we're talking about positions in Varnashram society. Prithu Maharaj, what position was he? Was he a Kshatriya? Well, he was a king, right? He was a king, but at the same time, he was like a Brahmana. He was always giving spiritual knowledge for his people. He was caring for them and guiding them spiritually as well as materially. And he was a grihastha, but at the same time he was a brahmachari. He had 5 children, but all of his children were great devotees. And so when you produce good quality children, then that is a brahmachari. That is not just any ordinary grihastha. So Prabhupada writes like that in the Srimad Bhagavatam about Maharaj Prithu. So you get people of that kind of quality, then it can have a big impact and greatly boost the preaching of Krishna consciousness. And just like 1,000 years ago, you had people like Ramanujacharya preaching, and certainly a lot of devotees. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and also a lot of devotees. And now Srila Prabhupada has come and gone, and many more devotees. We want to go on and see more and more devotees. But quality devotees, that's important. That we want to see that they're spiritually pure. No compromising in the standards. So, yes, Prabhu?
Maharaj, I just want to add one point, because Bimal Prasad Prabhu is the right person to comment on this, but still, he was my teacher for the Brahmanical culture. When I was learning in Mayapur Academy, he was my teacher. So that's what Srila Prabhupada, the same context what Your Holiness was saying, Maharaj, that Srila Prabhupada wanted to create a Brahmanical culture in the society. The Brahmanical culture, in the sense, even the Brahmanas should be there in the ruling, or at least as an advisors to the rulers, so that Krishna consciousness devotees, he said the devotee Brahmana should be the advisors to the ruling community. And Srila Prabhupada wanted at least 1% of the total population to be in the Brahmanical culture, so that a proper ruling and peace will prevail in the world. In one of the lectures, Srila Prabhupada was saying this one in relation to this Varnashrama Dharma and Brahmanical culture. So that's what his wish and he said this is what he wanted. Probably Bimal Prasad will be able to give more input on this, because he was my teacher in that. Hare Krishna.
1%. 1%. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's not, yes.
A long way to go.
Yes, Maharaj. I understand, or I understand that that statement of Prabhupada is not a literal statement, but it's like a figurative statement. Like 1% in that sense, it means like not literally 1%. It's like, it means that even if a very fractional, very small, insignificant percentage of the population can be like that, so then the world would be certainly a better place. So, but, I won't go to say that 1% means exactly 1%, because as you said, that's a lot of people. A lot of people.
Yeah, Prabhupada always talked about the snowball effect, You have to start somewhere and gradually build up.
Yeah.
And it takes time. It certainly takes time. Anyway, something is going on. Okay, we have to have a break. Let's stop for 10 minutes and we'll come back in 10 minutes. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Maharaj, Anupanam, Goshen Prabhupada.
Welcome back. So we're continuing our study here. We didn't get very far. Anyway, we hear about the father, Jamadagni, that he was practiced in meditation and austerity. So knowing this encouraged Parasurama, this helped Parasurama to be convinced that he should follow the order of his father. Parasurama was concerned that if he didn't follow the order of his father, then his father would be very angry. No telling what his father would have done. He wants the wife killed, the sons killed. Maybe he would have also killed Parasuram. Anyway, Parasuram was confident and he agreed to kill the mother and the brothers. And then Parasuram's very happy. Or rather, Jamadagni is very happy. He's very pleased with Parasuram, that he's so faithful. And he gave him benediction. So then Parasuram said, "Let my mother and brother live again and not remember having been killed." This is the benediction. So that was a nice little Leela there. Parasurama is obedient. He carries out that order, which would have been very difficult for any ordinary person to do. And they woke up, the mother and the sons, they all come back, and it's just like they woke up from a sound sleep. So Parasurama was aware of the power of his father and his great learning. But the problem is with Kartavirya Arjun, because Jamadagni had killed Kartavirya Arjun, and Kartavirya Arjun's sons, who were like, how many, 10,000 or something? They all planned to come and get revenge. And so they came, and they got Jamadagni when he was in the ashram alone, but at least the sons were not there. So Prabhupada writes, Jamadagni, or whoever one may be, one must act very cautiously and sagaciously. Prabhupada read that quote to us earlier today. I'll read it again. We have to act very cautiously and sagaciously, otherwise one must suffer the results of sinful activities. This is the lesson we receive from Vedic literature. So we could question, wasn't Parasuram cautious and sagacious? I mean, very fierce, but he, in some ways, he did what he had to do. He had a duty. He had a duty to perform. And of course, you could say duty to get revenge, is that proper? That my father's been killed, so I'm going to go out and kill all the sons of Kartavirya Arjun. We saw in Srimad Bhagavatam Dhruva Maharaj fighting when his brother was killed, and he fought with the yakshas, and he killed so many yakshas, and then finally Lord Brahma had to come and Swambhuva Manu, and they had to instruct Dhruva Maharaj that this is not proper behavior. You shouldn't be killing all these people. One person killed your brother and you're killing thousands of people in revenge. So similarly here, Parasurama, his father had been killed and he's killing so many. He killed all of the sons of Kartavirya Arjun. And not only that, but after he killed all the sons of Kartavirya Arjun, then he went off and killed all the Kshatriyas. Not right away, but after some time he did that. Anyway, the sons of Kartavirya Arjun are described that they were devoid of the qualities of Kshatriyas. They were so cruel that despite the prayers of the wife of Jamadagni, Renuka, that they forcibly cut off his head and took it away. So that was certainly a very barbaric thing to do. They didn't just simply kill him, but they cut off his head and took it away with them. So his wife Renuka, she calls out for the only people she knows, and especially she knows something about the very special power of her son. And she calls to the youngest son, "Oh Rama, my dear son, Rama." And they heard the calling and they came running. And so when they saw the situation, then it was very painful for them to see that their father had departed from the world. As they said, "Oh Father, most religious, saintly person, you've left us and gone to the heavenly planets." So they understood the departure of their father, that he'd gone to the heavenly planets. But Parasurama is determined. He has to do something. He has to take some action. He cannot allow this simply to take place. And so he went to the Mahishmati, which was the capital of Kartavirya Arjuna, and said he made a mountain of heads severed from the bodies of the sons of Kartavirya Arjuna. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes that the Kshatriyas had killed his father was only a plea. The real fact is that because the Kshatriyas, the ruling class, had become polluted, their position was inauspicious. Brahminical culture is enjoined in the Shastra, especially in Bhagavad Gita. Then laws of nature in the time of Parasurama or at the present. If the government becomes irresponsible and sinful, not caring for Brahminical culture, there will certainly be an incarnation of God like Parasuram to create a devastation by fire, famine, pestilence, or some other calamity. So are we seeing any of these things taking place in the world today? Can we say these? Corona. We could say that coronavirus, it was one of the reactions on the planet for all the sinful activities which were going on, for disobeying, for not following the system of Varnashram, not respecting the supremacy of the Supreme Lord.
Then there is fire in Los Angeles and Amazon.
Where?
Fire, big fires in Amazon and Los Angeles.
Okay. Different calamities. Yeah, there are different social problems everywhere. Economies crumbling, people living in more and more difficult situations. They have no home anymore, they lose their homes, they have to go and camp, they have to go and live in the campsites or sleep in the parks. More and more these kind of problems are coming up in the world. People are not able to have a proper home, a stable life. So these are reactions which come they come on nations, they come around the world, because we are not following the system which is actually given to us by the Lord. Anyway, Lord Parasurama was able to get back his father's head, and he joined it to the dead body, and he offered sacrifices and worshipped the demigods, and he was able to bring life back to the body. So Lord Parasuram, he's still living, and it's described that where he's living, and it said he has some function at the end, or the next Manvantara. The next Manvantara he has a function, and he will preach the Vedic knowledge.
Yes, Saptarishi Maharaj, Saptarishi.
Yes.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Uh-huh.
Maharaj, I have a question. Maharaj, we know that all the Vishnu Tattva have their own spiritual world in Vaikuntha. So how about Satyavish Avatar like Parashuram? Does he have her own spiritual abode?
Yeah, he may have. Why not?
Okay, thank you, Maharaj.
Maharaj, another question. Doubt Maharaj. You said
Yes.
Jamadagni go back to heavenly planet, but he's one of the Sapta Muni. He will go to a pulse star around the Dhruva Maharaj planet. The seven Sapta Munis will stay there around that, according to the Bhagavatam. How can he go back to heaven? Just telling in Bhagavatam or Maharaj? I also don't know.
He became one of the 7 great sages, yeah.
Fools. Star fool.
Hmm?
Durvaloka planet, they are around that Saptamuni.
Yes, the stars. So he's one of the stars.
Stars. Okay, thank you, Maharaj.
So in the purport of text 25-26, Prabhupada talks about how everybody's doing different sinful activities. Where even when you walk about, you walk on the street, you can kill living entities. When you drink water, there may be living entities. When you breathe the air, there are different germs and bacteria. So everywhere you're getting some kind of reactions. So the Vedic system was to do pancha yagna, which were some kind of ritualistic sacrifices to counteract our sinful activities. But in the Kali Yuga, there's only one yagya, and that yagya is Sankirtan. And if we worship Lord Chaitanya by doing Sankirtan, then we can get freed of all of our different sinful reactions. So Prabhupada said this Sankirtan is a special concession for human society to save people from being affected by known and unknown sinful activities. Yeah, we have so many different sinful activities, but if we would simply take up Sankirtan, that can destroy all of our sinful reactions. Prabhupada said, we are surrounded by unlimited sins, and therefore it is compulsory that one take to Krishna consciousness and chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This is purport text 23. So, the Sankirtan movement is so important, giving people the holy name and performing Sankirtan. It's important for us, and it's important for the common people also, that they hear the holy name. And if they just hear the holy name and see the devotees, and if they approve and appreciate what we're doing, then they get the benefit also. It's very good for them. So Sankirtan is very auspicious More and more Sankirtan parties. I heard in Moscow now they have 10 Sankirtan parties go out every day. They have, in different parts of the city, they have 10 Sankirtan parties going out. You know, we think, oh, one Sankirtan party goes out, we think very good. But, you know, in Russia, 10 parties going out in one city. So Sankirtan is so important. We don't want to just build a temple and just become comfortable, sit there. You know, we have to have Sankirtan. We have to go out and chant the holy name. People need to see that. I know I was in Hong Kong and we were doing Sankirtan, and this one man, later on I had gone to his office, he was a businessman, and he was following some other guru. But I went to see him and he said, yeah, I saw you doing Sankirtan. He said, you know, that's what we're supposed to be doing also. We're supposed to be doing it, but we don't do it. He said, it's so very good that you people do it. So he was appreciating. And generally those pure-hearted souls, they will appreciate that we do Sankirtan. Sometimes you get devotees, you know, devotees are, oh, that's weird, oh no, I'm not going to do that, oh no, you know, and they minimize, they don't appreciate the power and the potency and the spiritual benefit which is there in Sankirtan. And this is the real Yuga Dharma. Kali Yuga Dharma, Hari Nam Sankirtan. So it's very important, you know, we don't just only want to build nice big temples. That's good also, of course you can build a big temple, very good, but we need to do Sankirtan. We need to go out there and chant, give the holy name. All right, so Jamadagni became one of the 7 sages. And then the next Manvantara, Jamadagni will be a propounder of Vedic knowledge. Oh no, Parasuram will propound the Vedic knowledge. Right, Parasuram's going to preach. And the next Manvantara, Parasuram will be a great propounder. Maybe he'll join the Hare Krishna movement. Right? He's going to be a propounder of Vedic knowledge. Who else is propounding the Vedic knowledge? You have to join the Hare Krishna movement. You can do these things. And then it writes, Lord Parasuram still lives as an intelligent Brahmana in the mountainous country known as Mahendra, completely satisfied, having given up the weapons of a Kshatriya. He's always worshipped, adored, and offered prayers for his exalted character and activities by such celestial beings as the Siddhas, Charanas, and Gandharvas. So those beings on the higher planets, they can appreciate Lord Parasuram, and they come and offer prayers to him. All right, so then after describing Parasuram, then in the same chapter, Sukadeva Goswami goes on to speak about Vishwamitra. Parasurama was the example of a Brahmana who became a Kshatriya. Not forever, just for some time. He took up that axe and he went off and he did a lot of killing, chopping. And so he became a Kshatriya for some time. But now he talks about Vishwamitra. Now Vishwamitra, he was a Kshatriya and he got the position of a Brahmana. He became a powerful Brahmana, Brahma Rishi. And he did it by doing penances and austerities. So Vishwamitra, he was the son of Maharaj Gadi. So this happens in Vedic culture. You get these things, people changing their varna around. So someone may be born in a Kshatriya family, like Vishwamitra. He was born in the Kshatriya family, but he was attracted to see the austerities of a Brahmana and the power of a Brahmana. In the Ramayana, which I read, it told about how Vishwamitra, as a Kshatriya, he had come there to the ashram of a great sage, maybe it was Valmiki or Vashishta, and they had a Kamadhenu cow, and they were providing, and he got attracted to the cow, he wanted and he tried to take it away. But he couldn't defeat the power of the Brahmana. And he would use different weapons, but whatever weapon he would use, the Brahmana would defeat it. And then he understood, this Brahmana is more powerful than I am. I'm a Kshatriya, but this Brahmana is more powerful than me. And so he thought, I should try to become a Brahmana. And he began to do penances and austerities. He gave up this kingly position. He gave up that position as being big Kshatriya, a big commander of forces, and he took to doing austerities. And gradually he developed the Brahminical quality. Of course, not easy. He had fall downs. Just like people come to Krishna consciousness, and sometimes they also fall down. But Prabhupada encouraged them to go on. Don't give up. The failure is the pillar of success. And so Vishwamitra continued to struggle, and gradually he developed more and more the Brahminical status and became a great sage among the Brahmanas. So Srila Prabhupada quotes this important verse from the 7th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. Yasya yau lakshanam proktam pumso vana bhivyanjakam yad antrapi drishyeta tattanaiva vinirdishat. If one shows the symptoms of being a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Sudra, even if he has appeared in a different class, he should be accepted according to those symptoms of classification. So this verse clearly declares the different varnas are recognized by the quality, the symptoms. What is the proper symptoms of the Brahmana? And who is a Kshatriya? You have to consider what qualities are meant to be there. Without having proper qualified Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, Prabhupada said if all the Sudras become Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, social order will be impossible. Srila Prabhupada was in Geneva, Switzerland. It was the year 1974. We just celebrated 50 years of Prabhupada's visit there. So it was 1974. Prabhupada went to Geneva. Guru Gauranga Prabhu was the temple president. He's in the USA now. He's an American, but he'd gone there and he opened a center in Geneva. And he arranged for Prabhupada to come there. And Prabhupada came and spent, I think, 10 days there in Geneva. And he arranged many nice, very wonderful programs, different important people for Srila Prabhupada to meet. So one person Prabhupada met, who was arranged by Guru Gauranga Prabhu, was the mayor of Geneva. And the mayor of Geneva had been seeing the devotees. You know, Geneva is not a very big city. And there's not a lot of people, especially in 1970s. There wasn't a lot of people there. And the devotees were there, and they would go in the square. There's a square in the center of the city, and the devotees would be there in the square every day, chanting and distributing books. Because that was the program of our devotees in the 1970s. Everybody went out on Sankirtan, and we'd go out and we'd have books and do kirtan and try to distribute books. So Prabhupada met with the mayor of Geneva, and the mayor of Geneva, he'd seen the devotees in the public square. Everybody in Geneva had seen them at that time, in those days. It wasn't a very big city. And so he saw the devotee, and he asked Prabhupada, he said, Swamiji, he said, what will happen in the future when everybody becomes a Hare Krishna? He said, if everybody joins Hare Krishna, he said, what will happen to the world? So Prabhupada laughed. The mayor was thinking that, so many young people were joining. He saw, we had quite a few devotees at that time in Switzerland. Swiss people were quite interested in Krishna consciousness. They have a lot of interest in spirituality. They have a history of a lot of religious conflicts, but many people had an interest in our books when we came there. So anyway, the mayor was asking Prabhupada, what's going to become of the world if everybody becomes a Hare Krishna? So Prabhupada laughed. He said, well, there's a system for dividing society. Everyone has different qualities, and according to their qualities, according to their characteristics, they can be properly trained and given suitable work. And Prabhupada explained how in the Vedic culture you have Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. Just like in the body, you have head, you have arms, you have the belly, you have the legs. So he said, in society also you have different parts, like parts of the social body. You have the social body, and these parts of the social body are meant to cooperate together. And so Prabhupada explained to the mayor about the Varnashram system, how everyone should be given proper work according to their nature. And later on, some time later, Prabhupada met Guru Gauranga again, and when he met him, he said to him, is that mayor in Geneva, is he still worried about everybody becoming a Hare Krishna? And Prabhupada laughed. So people need to understand these things, that everyone should be properly engaged. They should be given work according to their nature. Some people are Sudras. Quite a lot of people are Sudras. And Sudras, they need to be properly engaged. They need to be told what to do. But there has to be people managing to guide them. There has to be the Kshatriyas, the administrators, or the Brahmanas who are there to guide the Kshatriyas. The Brahmanas are meant to be the head. They're supposed to guide the Kshatriyas. And this way, cooperation is so important to get people to work together. So here, in this particular case, we're hearing about Vishwamitra, that he was a Kshatriya and decided he wanted to be a Brahmana. So, no problem. As we say, anybody can become a Brahmana if they're properly initiated and trained by a bona fide spiritual master. So Vishwamitra had to go about he had to develop the qualities, develop that qualification as a Kshatriya. So, unless people are properly engaged, then the social order becomes very difficult to maintain. and it just becomes like an animal society. Animals, they only know eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And they have no intelligence to inquire. They have no religion. So these things are lacking in the world. People often lack these things. They need to be properly guided. So then Sukadeva Goswami goes on to tell about Vishwamitra, and he had 101 sons, and all the sons were celebrated as the Madhuchandas. 50 were older than Madhuchanda and 50 younger. Right? Madhuchanda was in the middle. And then we're told about this very special son, the son of Ajigartha, Shunishepa. And later he became known as Devarata. So this boy Devarata, he was adopted by Vishwamitra. And Vishwamitra ordered his sons to accept Sunishepa as their eldest brother. But there was a problem. Right? Well, first of all, we're told more about the background of Sunishepa and how it happened that he got adopted by Vishwamitra. That Sunishepa's father had sold him to be sacrificed as a man animal in the yajna of King Harishchandra. And when the boy Sunishepa was brought into the arena, he prayed to the demigods for release, and by their mercy, he got released. In the purport, there's more background. Harishchandra was to sacrifice his own son, but then it was arranged to purchase Sunishepa and sacrifice him. And Sunishepa was sold to Harishchandra because he was the middle son between the oldest and the youngest. So sacrifice of a man as an animal in yajna had been practiced for a very long time. So this is another one of these nasty things which is in the Vedic literature. And often we will see movies, they will show some movie about some Indian temple and they'll show a human sacrifice. And we're told even there are some places where even human sacrifices are done, and we read about it in the time of Jad Bharat. The Jad Bharat, at one point, he was taken and they wanted to sacrifice him. So sacrifice, yajna, of course this is very much in the mode of ignorance, to sacrifice a man as an animal. Even to sacrifice animals is also in the mode of ignorance. So we can see the beauty of Krishna consciousness, that the real yajna, Kali Yuga done, Hari Nam, saying we have to do Sankirtan. This is the real yajna. We get people to do that yajna, it destroys sinful reactions. So this boy, Sunishepa, he was greatly advanced in spiritual life. And the demigods could understand that, and that's why they protected him. And he became adopted by Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra gave him the name Devavrata. So then Vishwamitra wants to bring the boy to his sons, and he tells, he wants all of the sons to accept him as their brother, accept him as the eldest son. So, eldest son, I mean, he's the senior most. They would have to listen to him, have to accept his authority. So the elder 50 of the Madhu Chandas, they did not agree. They objected. So Vishwamitra cursed them. He became angry with them and cursed them. He said, may you all become malechas. All you bad sons become malechas, being opposed to the principles of Vedic culture. Now actually, if you're opposed to the principles of Vedic culture, then you are a malecha. That's understood, but anyway, Vishwamitra put that curse on his own sons because he did not like to follow his instruction. And we see this happening. We see, for example, Advaita Acharya had 6 sons. Only 3 were devotees. The other 3 were asara. They were useless. Advaita Acharya was a great devotee himself, and 3 sons, like the oldest of his sons, Achyutananda, was a very great devotee. So 3 sons were devoted, but other 3, they were smarter Brahmins. They did not follow their father. So Advaita Acharya gave them up. They're useless. So here also Vishwamitra, he is not happy with his 50 older sons. The older sons said, may you all become malechas. So they're born in the Brahmana family. Their father is a Brahmana, but by curse they have become malechas. So Prabhupada talks about it. He said, at the present age, Kali Yuga, you don't need to curse anybody. People are automatically malechas. Everywhere. And this is only the beginning of Kali Yuga. Nobody follows the Vedic principles. So, this is the problem, Kali Yuga. Everyone is malecha. How difficult our task is, therefore, to try to change the face of the world, to bring people to Krishna consciousness. And the great need, of course, is Krishna. We need Lord Krishna's mercy. And Prabhupada goes on in the purport, he said, nobody will follow Vedic principles, everybody will become malecha, then Kalki will appear, and he will kill all the malechas with his sword. So, you don't have to wait for the end of Kali Yuga. End of Kali Yuga, that's a long way, 427,000 years. But any time can happen, Kalki can come and kill everyone. And then begin again, Satya Yuga. So very difficult situation to save people from the influence of the age of Kali. Srila Vyasadeva said qualities of people in the Kali Yuga: lazy, misguided, unlucky, always disturbed. But although it's Kali Yuga, there's some good things about Kali Yuga. Right? What are the good things about Kali Yuga? What are the good things about Kali Yuga, Ananda Dulal?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, chanting the holy name.
Well, in every age there is chanting of the holy name.
This is a special for because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bring down. In Kali Yuga, Sankirtan Yagya is a more beneficial than all.
Yes. In the Kali Yuga, there's no other way. In other ages, there was chanting of Hare Krishna, but there were other processes also. There was meditation in Satya Yuga, there was temple worship in Treta Yuga, and there was temple worship in Dwapara Yuga. And there was also the chanting of the holy name. The chanting of the holy name was always there. But in the Kali Yuga, there's only the chanting of the holy name. There is no other way but the holy name. And Lord Chaitanya, that's why he preached so much about the importance of chanting the holy name, to get people to chant. So he wanted that Sankirtan. Lord Chaitanya spent most of his time doing Sankirtan. When he came to Jagannath Puri, every day he would have Sankirtan. So malechas, people are automatically malechas. Everywhere. Even in India. Right? Although the Vedic culture is there, but it's been forgotten, it's been put aside. And so many other things have come, and it's put aside, and people just, oh, you know, it's not, they think it's not important. They think it's not important, but, and then when it's too late, then they realize how important it is. So we're trying to change the situation, we're trying to adjust. All right, so the elder Madhuchandas were cursed. The younger 50, along with Madhuchanda himself, they approached the father and they agreed to accept his proposal. They said, "Dear father, we shall abide by whatever arrangement you like." So again, you can see this example of submission to the authority and willingness and eagerness to carry out whatever instruction is given. Just as in the case of Parasuram, here you can see a parallel here, that the Madhuchandas, they're willing to follow whatever their father wants them to do. And their father wanted them to accept that Surashepa as their oldest brother, and they say, all right, yeah, we can do that, no problem. So that submission to authority, that is very important, and this is stressed again and again, and even right at the beginning of Mahabharata, they talk about submission, and they give examples about people becoming submissive, having to be submissive to the spiritual master, to take that order of the spiritual master very seriously. Now, sometimes Prabhupada would do these things also. Like one time, I heard there was one devotee, and he was driving the car, and he drove Prabhupada from the airport, and he was driving Prabhupada around, and Prabhupada said, "What does this man do?" And they said, "Oh, he's just a temple driver, Prabhupada." They said, Prabhupada said he should be the temple president. So they made him the temple president. He became the temple president, and he was very good president. He did very nicely. He managed very well. So Prabhupada could do that. He could take people out and put them in positions. He could understand the nature of someone just by being with them for some time and seeing how they drove and how they talked, how they behaved, and he could understand something of the man's qualification. And Prabhupada said, make him temple president. Then he became the temple president. He went on to become a very big manager in the society. So it was Prabhupada who put him in that position. So we have to accept that order of the spiritual master. We shouldn't be resentful that, oh, why him? Oh, he's a new man, he doesn't know anything. Just like it happened, Gaur-Govinda Swami Maharaj, he first came to Prabhupada in Vrindavan, and And Prabhupada wanted, Prabhupada could understand this man's very pure soul, you know, born in a Vaishnava family from Orissa, a devotee of Jagannath his whole life and everything. And so Prabhupada told him, he said, you know, you should become sannyasi. And Gaur Govinda said, yeah, I would like that. I'd like to be a sannyasi. So Prabhupada said, very good. And so it happened there was going to be initiations. So Prabhupada told the devotees that this man, this Gaur Govinda, he will also take sannyas. And the devotees, the Western devotees who were there, they were surprised. And they said, Prabhupada, he's just a new man. And Prabhupada looked at them and said, no, he's a devotee his whole life. He's in this his whole life. He's not a new man. And so it happened, he took sannyas, and of course he preached very nicely and established a wonderful temple there in Bhubaneswar, translated Prabhupada's books into Oriya languages, and made many, many devotees in different parts of the world also by his preaching. So Prabhupada could recognize the situation, the qualification of someone. Not every case like that, but generally Prabhupada could understand. Just like Prabhupada was in Hong Kong and some Indian man came to him and said, I want to take sannyas. And Prabhupada looked at him and said, oh really, why? And he said, oh, I have a wife and 4 kids at home, it's terrible. So Prabhupada understood, you know, that this is no reason to take sannyas. This man is not very qualified. So understanding a person's nature and qualification, it's not an easy thing to judge, but advanced devotees like Srila Prabhupada, he could do that. He could understand person.
Yeah.
So the younger Madhuchandas accepted Sunashepa as their elder brother and told him, we will follow your orders. And Vishwamitra then said to his obedient sons, because you have accepted Sunashepa as your eldest brother, I am very satisfied. By accepting my order, you have made me a father of worthy sons, and therefore I bless all of you to become the fathers of sons also. So that's a blessing, to be blessed to become a father of sons. It's a blessing, very fortunate soul. So he blessed his sons, they would also become fathers and have good sons. So again, you can see the benefit of being obedient to authority, accepting authority and being faithful, carrying out that order without doubts, without any apprehension. It's a very important qualification. So then Vishwamitra said, this Devarata is my son, is one of you. Please obey his orders. Vishwamitra cursed some of his sons and blessed the others. And he also adopted a son. So you get the results. As Krishna says, as you surrender unto me, I reward you accordingly. Some people surrender, they get the benefit. Krishna said, if you surrender, I will take away your sinful reactions. If you don't surrender, then what's going to happen? You're going to suffer. You're going to be lost in the wheel of birth and death. Here, Vishwamitra curses the sons who were disobedient, that they would never have sons. They will never be fathers. But he blessed the other sons. They would have good sons. All right. So there must be some other nice examples you can think about the importance and the great benefit of being obedient and carrying out the instructions, even though we may wonder why you have to do this, why like that. You can see, for example, the history about the Juhu temple in Mumbai, that Juhu temple. Prabhupada wanted that land, and the devotees were like, oh no, they didn't want to stay there. You know, it was not very pleasant, it was far away from the city, and there were so many mosquitoes, there was no facility. But Prabhupada had a vision that, you know, something very nice is going to come up here. We can have a wonderful temple here one day. But the other devotees, they were not, you know, they just didn't like it. But when the devotees stuck it out, when they surrendered to it, and the result was they got the wonderful temple. They built this beautiful temple there at Juhu. And it's so wonderful, it's so prestigious, so many people come there and they're impressed. And it was built with not a lot of money. When people hear how much we spent building it, people are surprised that we could build such a wonderful place for so little money. And so it was possible by the grace of Krishna. But it took surrender to that order, that with the order from the spiritual master, then you can get the ability to carry out the instruction. All right? Any questions? And maybe you can. I'll have some examples. You know, we can ask you. You can give some examples yourself about how it helps so much to surrender and to accept some authority, and maybe in your own experience or somebody else's experience, or from the scripture.
Yeah. Maharaj,
Yeah.
I remember Tamal Krishna Maharaj was given the order that he has to go and preach in China. And then he took it upon himself, and now we can see how nicely the China preaching is flourishing.
Jai, I hope it's flourishing.
Yes, Maharaj, it is.
Okay. Yes, he didn't really want to go there, but Prabhupada pushed it, and in the end he went. And when he went there, then he saw that after he'd been there, he said, and now I can understand why Prabhupada sent me here. When he went there, he actually saw, he said, now I can understand why Prabhupada sent me here. He said, these people know what discipline means. You know, he was a disciplinarian, you know, he had that very strict nature. And so, you know, Chinese people, they're used to that. That's the atmosphere there is like that. It's very disciplined. Everywhere there's so much discipline. Everywhere there's control. You have to be very careful what you do. Okay, any other examples?
So Maharaj Prabhupada himself, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj said, you go and preach in the English-speaking world, the outside, in Western world. And Prabhupada didn't know how till the end also, when he was in the jungle. So he just obeyed his spiritual master, and ISKCON happened because of that.
Jai. Thank you, Maharaji. Yes. Yaduraj Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, the example of how Lord Ram just followed and obeyed the instruction of his father to go to the forest for 40 years.
Okay. Going to the forest for 14 years, the instruction of his father.
Priyavrata also. No, he did not want to become the king. He had gone to the forest to practice devotional service, but on the order of Brahma and Manu, he came back to rule the.
Yeah, that's a nice example. Priyavrata, right? How he had to come back. He was reassured that later on you will again take up the devotional, the way or the path you've been practicing. But for now you come back and take up the mission, the work of running, of ruling. Become the ruler, and later on you can always take up your spiritual path again. And he did. Yes,
Hare
very
Krishna
good.
Maharaj, we can also take the example of Prithu Maharaj, who followed the instructions and did not conduct the 100th yajna to become Indra. He stopped at 99.
Yes, very good example. Yes, very nice. Yeah, he was told, don't be attached. Yajna is for the pleasure of Krishna, not for your pleasure. So he stopped at 99. Very good.
Maharajji, can we take the example of Arjuna? He was not ready to fight the battle unless Krishna himself instructed him to do so. And then he finally fought.
Yes.
Arjuna.
Right. Yes. Then he finally fought. Yeah, so surrender is very important. Taking instructions from the superiors. And Prabhupada expected that. There must be cooperation. Everywhere there must be some organization. And there has to be some line of authority. And we have to cooperate there. And don't worry, somebody's an authority today. They won't always be the authority. And in the future, you'll get a chance to be the authority. It can come to you also. Authorities are not eternal. And you have to pass over and let somebody else be the authority in time. So you're not the authority today, you may become the authority tomorrow. So we shouldn't feel bitter that somebody else, why they're always in charge. Rather, we should feel grateful that someone's willing to take on that service, to take up that work of organizing everything and telling people what to do, giving them some service. It's not an easy task, it's difficult, very difficult to manage. To be a temple manager is really a headache for a lot of people. So we're lucky that other people are willing to do it. What do you say, Bimal Prasad Prabhu?
No, Maharaj, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
Maharaj, I heard Srila Prabhupada took some devotee to South India with a train. The devotee don't want to follow. They said, I don't want to go to South India, Prabhu, because they all philosophical. They were very known about atheists, so much atheists. But he took the devotee, his disciple, bring to the some station like Hyderabad, he dropped two devotee. Okay, you two get down. Then he bring to some place two. Then ending Chennai, he dropped 2%. He all preaching, tell it that. He just simply preach Bhagavad Gita, I say. I heard from one of the disciple of Prabhupada. It sent Prabhupada, they're very sincere. Then make it like Hyderabad, become a temple.
Yeah, I remember the one devotee He was a sannyasi. Prabhupada had given him sannyas, and he told him to go to South India to preach. And he said, "Oh, Srila Prabhupada, everybody there knows Sanskrit in South India." He said, "I don't know any Sanskrit." But Prabhupada told him, he said, "Oh, you just learn maybe 40 verses from the Bhagavad Gita." He said, "With 40 verses from the Bhagavad Gita, you can present Krishna conscious philosophy to anyone and convince them." He said, "You don't need to know the whole of Sanskrit. You just learn 40 verses from the Bhagavad Gita and preach with that, and that will be enough." Anyway, the devotee, he went, he didn't stay there very long, but but Prabhupada said like that, he gave that instruction. He liked it, Prabhupada liked to see, there was the one devotee in Delhi, it was Tejas Prabhu. Tejas was in Delhi, and Prabhupada told, whatever income you get, 50% should go to the BBT. You know, we were making life members. The income was all coming through life membership, and Prabhupada wanted that 50% of the income from life membership, must go to the BBT. And he said that way you have a credit with the BBT, you can get books. And so Tejas Prabhu was doing that, and Prabhupada was highly appreciative that this man follows. Nobody else wanted to even go and stay in Delhi at that time. That was considered a very difficult place to preach. But Tejas somehow was staying there, and he was preaching, and he was following, he was giving 50% to the BBT. So Prabhupada was very appreciative. Okay.
Maharaj, I wanted to share my own experience. When I joined ISKCON, I was studying, I was doing my PhD, and I got a exchange student offer. I was supposed to go to Berkeley, California, and when I told my mentor that I can go to Berkeley for doing my PhD as an exchange student, and he said, "I don't recommend, because you are already in IIT, so it is a good place, a good institution. You can continue here because you're too young in Krishna consciousness." As it is, I came from a very materialistic world, and then of course, I did not go. I listened, and I feel very grateful, because after marriage, I went there. I stayed there for 15 years in US, and I had a better life, because I would have struggled as a student doing everything. But when I went as a married woman, I had everything I was everything ready. My husband always was there for me, and I could practice Krishna consciousness peacefully rather than getting a big job and big career. Otherwise, I would have lost all whatever I have today in just materialistic things. So I'm really very grateful for that advice that my mentor gave. He just recommended, but I'm happy that Krishna gave that good sense that I could follow up with that suggestion.
Well, that's a wonderful experience. Thank you so much for that. Sundar Gopi Mataji, is it? Yeah. Yeah, very nice. You were very lucky. You had a very good mentor. Very, very good mentor who could guide you, give you good instruction.
Yes, Maharaj. Throughout, we had wonderful mentors. Even in US, we had Vrajlila Mataji, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj's disciple. She was like a marriage counselor for us. And had these people not been in our life, we would have fallen apart. It is like today also, everything either from the classes or they're personally there for us. So I really believe that I'm still a small child, and I always need to get a confirmation for at least major decisions in our life. And I'm really grateful to ISKCON for that.
Yes, it's very helpful to have mentors. I know I was listening to Tamal, some years back, I was listening to Tamal Krishna Goswami. He was giving initiation, and there were some young ladies taking initiation, and he told them, he said, "I want you to give me the names of 3 people who you can go to, who you can take guidance from." You know, he was so concerned that, you know, they should have some mentor, somebody there who's in the future, who's going to be there, who they can go to and who they can open up to and take guidance from. It's certainly very helpful to have, of course, we could call it shiksha gurus or mentors, whatever, but certainly having that person who's an authority who can there to guide us, it's very essential for our spiritual benefit, for our spiritual growth. We have to be willing to, and taking initiation, it's also like that as well. You have to be willing to submit yourself. Not everybody's willing to open up and to accept somebody to guide us, you know, but certainly it does help, it makes a difference. I know I've had a lot of help over the years. Tamal Krishna Goswami, I was with him for 20 years before he departed. And he helped me a lot. I got a lot of instructions from him. And before that, even when I first came to Krishna consciousness, I got instructions from different devotees. I was just coming to the temple regularly, and then devotees told me, you know, you should come and stay in the temple, you know, and you can go to work. You know, I just graduated from college and I had a job, so I was thinking, you know, I have my job. They said, it's okay, you come, you can stay in the temple, go to work. So I was doing that. And I would come home and they would keep me prasadam. And then after some time they said to me, you know, one of them said to me, why don't you give up that job, you know? And so it happened, you know, he said to me, why don't you give up that job? That it happened that I saw that, you know, I should give up the job, that, you know, why not just give up the job? You know, you can always get other jobs, you know, we get so much attached to these jobs, you know, people. So I gave up the job and they put me to work, and I was running the incense business. We were making incense and stuff like that and supporting the temple. So, you know, I'm so fortunate. I really appreciated the guidance of devotees. But, you know, you have to hear, you have to be willing to hear.
Yeah. I'm also same, Maharaj, like you.
Yeah.
I gone to temple last time. They say give up my job, then join.
Yeah. There's so many other jobs, right? Why worry about the job? Whenever I tell people like that, you know, they all laugh, you know, they go, oh, you gave up your job. They think it's, you know, because they're so attached to their jobs. They cannot imagine it, giving up their job. They're so attached. But they'll have to give it up one day anyway. Okay, if there are any other comments, or we can finish here.
Maharaj, I have one question, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Regarding the sannyasi, in Satyaloka, they have a sannyasi or not, Maharaj? Is Satyaloka only for perform in Kali Yuga, or I heard seeing in Satyaloka don't have any sannyasi? They're all in Muni, Kragasa, like that, only Guru all. Satyaloka, Tredaloka, even Dwapara Loka also. Satyaloka only, the Kali Yuga only, I saw that. Any other Maharaj can give opinion this regarding this?
Well, I think the Brahmana from Avanti Desh became a sannyasi, didn't he?
No.
There was a Brahmana from Avanti Desh became a sannyasi. The 4 ashrams have been there. The four varnas, 4 ashrams. 4 ashrams have been there a long time.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah. All right. So we'll stop here. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Going back to
Thank you, Maharaj.
Vrinda ki.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj ki jai.
Pranams.
Thank you, Maharaj.